AEW Forbidden Door, WWE Night of Champions. We're going to talk about it. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I'm your host, Comic Book Bob, joined as always by my good friend, Hollywood Frank.
Tuesday again, yeah.
Yep. You can catch us here, hopefully going forward, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all news and wrestling. You can also follow us on social media, scrolling below. And a lot of wrestling this weekend, man. A lot of wrestling. We had WWE had Night of Champions. They also had their NXT pay-per-view. AEW had Forbidden Door. TNA had their pay-per-view. I didn't watch any of that. I watched Night of Champions and I watched Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same.
Yep. I am going to go back and watch the NXT pay-per-view.
Nothing against NXT or TNA. I just don't have enough time with working in the weekend to watch 4 wrestling pay-per-views. Whatever you want to call them. That's a lot.
Yeah, all together between them, you're talking, even if you skip the pre-show on AEW, which I did, and you watch both WWE and AEW, that was 7 hours of that was almost 8 hours. That was over 7 hours of wrestling, dude. That's a lot.
If you want to watch it all, you'd have to watch it after it, because the amount of filler, especially from WWE with their commercials and advertisement and how long it takes to get to the ring and all that, you could take 5 hours and shrink that right down into 2 hours.
Dude, I told you this story. When the main event was supposed to start, they go, let's take a look back at how we got here. I literally got up, went to the bathroom, and not taking a leak. Yeah, Big Bill. Yeah, Bill Morrissey's going back. Yep. Got up and took a leak, went back into the kitchen, and I got like something out of the fridges and then something to drink. Came back. The match still hadn't started. They were still doing entrances at that point. I'm talking, this had to be at least, had to be at least 15, maybe at least 15 minutes. Probably closer to more like 18.
Yeah.
It was closer to 20 than it was 15. And it still hadn't started. Dude, they said over 54% of the show was ads and entrances. Ads and vignettes and entrances.
And all that filler you talked about, There were matches that were shorter than that filler time.
Dude, one of the matches was only 3 minutes long. I think no, on the pay-per-view, I think it was 8 minutes. 8 minutes and the longest match at Night of Champions. The longest match at Night of Champions, I think it was 19 minutes or something like that. The shortest match on Forbidden Door was longer than all but two matches. Longer than all but one match at Night of Champions. The shortest match was longer than every other match except for the main event. And it's like, what the hell, dude? Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that happened. That was cool. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Obviously, we're gonna talk about what we like, what we didn't like, where we think they're gonna be going. Just give everybody a little chance to trickle in here. But before that, let's go ahead and check in with everybody. Big Daddy was first. You say, hey yo, Big Daddy, appreciate you being here, sir. As always, here's your shout out from the bad guy.
Hey, yo.
Appreciate you, sir. Guys, definitely check him out. Check out Big Daddy, his channel. Next up, we had Leg Kick. Hail the Wrestling Council. What's up, Leg Kick? Appreciate you, man. Frank was waiting for me to send him the link. AEW was awesome. WWE was meh. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. Yeah. MLW is really good too. They build feuds better than AEW or WWE. I got to get back into MLW. I've kind of slacked off on MLW. I was watching MLW religiously for about 2 years. During that time period where Hammerstone and Jacob Fatu were like the two top guys. That time period was really good, man. Richard Holiday came back. God, what else? There was a couple of things that was going on. MLW was really good during that time period. It fell off a little bit when they lost Jacob and Hammerstone, but then recently they've been picking up speed again. That's one of the things that we'll talk about in a little bit is where I think AEW should go with Forbidden Door going forward here. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into our favorite little segment, something we haven't been doing lately, but we're going to do it now. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as I trip over my friggin' tongue. It is a odd number, which means it is starting off with, oh my God, my finger, like my camera's like all this. That guy.
This guy.
This guy. What you got for your GBU, my friend?
The good. Just a weekend. There's some good wrestling going on. I think for the most part, WWE was predicted, and AEW for the most part predictable, like where they were going. But even with that, my thoughts is AEW was the better show. Again, I didn't watch NXT. I didn't watch TNA, so I can't speak on something I didn't watch. But of the two, AEW and WWE, AEW was the better show. The Bloodfest of Shore Strickland and Will Ospreay was probably the best match of the night.
Yeah.
Of any of the shows. Will Ospreay going to be challenging for the world title in his hometown or home country, in All In. So that's going to be good. Looking forward to seeing that. So, and not taking anything away, Zack Sabre versus Kenny Omega, good match.
That was a really good match. I'm always gonna fanboy for Zack Sabre Jr.
Even the women look good. Thekla looked good. Mercedes looked good. Thekla's really growing.
Yep.
Rob talked about it with Tony Storm out. It's good to have Thekla up there, and her versus Mercedes is going to be a good match.
She's really grown on me. And as far as like like her status.
Seeing Jay White come out and then him celebrating with the Ass Boys and oh my God, what's his name?
Oh, Juice
Robinson. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
nice to see.
Ace Austin. Yeah.
They
They and dude, like the reaction he got when he came back, dude. This people have been waiting for this dude to be put into the world title scene since he showed up in AEW. He had one title match against who was it against? I think it was against
was it Hangman?
It might have been Hangman, yeah, and that was it. And then never touched him again.
But that's my good was again overall Forbidden Door looked really good. My bad is what is the purpose of winning King of the Ring?
You challenged for the world championship at SummerSlam.
If you can, according to Michael Cole, can push that world title match to a later date.
You can't. It's never been. It's never been done before. The only. This is.
Obafemi won King of the Ring.
Yep.
He came out, was going to say he was going to challenge for SummerSlam, and Lesnar came out. So now it's Lesnar versus
Obafemi
at SummerSlam.
Yep.
And I know SummerSlam's 2 nights this year, first time ever. It's 2 nights.
Yep.
So yes, you could have him challenge Lesnar on night 1, and then go and challenge Sami Zayn or whoever's champion on night 2.
Not going to do that.
But
I'll tell you right now, it's going to be Jay versus Sammy.
If you win and get a title shot that was talked about going for SummerSlam, you have 2 options. Option 1 is you strip the King of the Ring crown off of Obafemi, which if you do, what was the sense of even having them in the match?
Right.
And making him champion. Or 2, Brock Lesnar challenges Sami Zayn at Saturday Night's Main Event, which is in 2 or 3 weeks, wins the title,
and then defends it
it a week or 2 later against Obafemi at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Which Rob and I were talking about it early this morning, is if that happens, and let's say Obafemi wins, you will have had 4 champions in a matter of 5 weeks, because it'll have gone from Cody Rhodes to Sami Zayn to Brock Lesnar to Obafemi.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. Obviously, I really do think that Sammy's next challenger is going to be Jay. It's going to be Jey Uso, which is going to be and we'll get more into this. That's your GBU.
And if that's the case, and it is Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn, because Jey Uso gets the King of the Ring spot, then why did you not have Jey Uso win?
It's WWE, man. The rules are made up and they don't apply when they feel like it. This is Austin Theory and the friggin' Money in the Bank briefcase all over again.
And my ugly is Night of Champions, what they are doing to division and particularly Braun Breaker. It feels like he's turning into the next LA Knight.
Yeah, what they chose to do with Braun Breaker and Seth is the biggest issue that I have. The biggest issue that I have. So, as you said, sup people,
And
Appreciate you being here, Mel.
that's my GBU. So you're up
Yes,
there,
sir.
young man.
I was not prepared for you guys both on time and on the right day. Yeah, well, sometimes we get things right, man. But appreciate you, brother.
Even a broken clock is right 2 times out of the day. All right.
Yep. Appreciate you, man. But all right, my GBU. Okay. I'm gonna parrot you a little bit here. This week's wrestling, even Night of Champions had some good stuff. When there was wrestling, I think before this whole fiasco happened, Obafemi not just beating Jay, but decisively beating Jay was the right choice. He's wildly popular right now. And they can try to spin this all they want. Jay's popularity is not what it was. He's a fun entrance, and there's a faction that will always back the bloodline no matter what. But the overall, most people have seen the lackluster work that he's done. So Papa H is Booker of the Year. I tell you, you can't understand his high concept booking. I'm gonna say this right now. I don't think Hunter is really the problem here. I think it's TKO, and they're booking by committee.
Yep.
Okay, because this feels like Vince level stuff, where they're just changing their mind. Sammy got inserted into this storyline 3 weeks, like 2.5 weeks before the show, and everyone's like, "No, he was doing something." Yeah, he was doing goofy shit. He wasn't really involved in the storyline. He was just doing goofy crap. For Sammy's booking for like the last 5 months was garbage. So, but yeah, probably, like I said, the 2 matches for me that I thought were just head and shoulders above everything else: Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland, Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr. Thekla versus Starlight Kid was really, really good. The other match that was really good was Shota Umino versus Pac. I mean, he's in there with Pac. I mean, what do you expect? But there wasn't a bad match on the entire AEW card. United Champions, like I said, Obafemi, right call. Seth versus Braun was a good match for as long as it was. And Cody versus Sammy versus Gunther was a good match, and just an ending that we talked about it. We had a feeling that they might do it, but it was a bad idea in my personal opinion. So,
yep.
But that's my good. My bad. Telegraphing the conclusion of Io Sky versus Liv Morgan before it even happens. So look, we all know that the Danhausen thing is a gimmick. It's a work. But here's the thing. It's a very predictive work.
Yes.
All right. The problem isn't that he cursed her and like we think it's kayfabe. We think it's real. No. The problem that people are pissed off about is this whole time the question was, why is Liv in there? Why is it? And they're like, it's going to be a champion. It's going to be champion versus champion. She's going to go for the other title. Okay, we've seen that happen before. It's kind of dumb, but all right. Makes sense a little bit. And then literally right before she gets into the ring, they have the Danhausen, he curses her. You know she's not going to win. Immediately, you know she's not going to win because that's the whole gimmick.
Yep.
The whole gimmick is if Danhausen curses you, you lose. So literally, this was one of those times where you can be like, okay, well, I guess I can just get up and go take a shit because we already know how this match is going to end. There's no point.
Yeah.
Because they actually did a pretty good job leading up to this to make you think, dude, they're actually going to have Liv Morgan win this thing. And nothing. And and obviously talking about the Hunters, and if he can't control the Yes Men, then maybe he ain't really the King of Kings. Dude, he is not the King of Kings, dude. Triple H ain't even the king of his own house. He's part of a fiefdom now at this point. So, but yeah, that was just dumb in my personal opinion. That was dumb. So I get that Seth and Roman have a lot of history, and that's always going to be interesting. Okay. Why does it have to come at Braun Breaker's expense? This dude was nuclear a year ago. And every time he gets in the ring with Seth, they have him lose. Braun has not won his big matches in a year. The majority of his matches, he's lost the majority of his big matches. And I really do think, like you said, it feels like they're doing the LA Knight treatment to him.
Yep.
With him though, I don't think it's that they think they're like, yeah, he's just not going to be the guy. With him, I think they think that they can just keep kicking that can down the road. But the problem is what happens when he gets ice. You guys are going to make him ice cold. They're doing the same thing to him that they've done to Gunther. Gunther was a freaking monster. He was the bad guy. He was the heel for when he went on that freaking tear with the IC title, and then he switched up to the world title. I legit thought that they were going to have him be the next big bad of WWE, and now he's just another dude.
Yep.
He's just another guy. They're doing the same thing. They sacrifice, and the thing with Gunther is they sacrificed him to lesser wrestlers. They sacrificed him to Sammy. They sacrificed him to Jay. Now they've sacrificed him to Sammy again. And they're doing the same thing to Braun. They're doing the exact same thing to Braun Breaker. Seth Rollins does not have to beat Braun Breaker to challenge Roman Reigns.
No.
Okay. They have so much history together. That's a forever feud that's going to continue until both of these guys retire. Okay. So why did you have to hamstring Braun, who's already in a situation where his faction is dead because of, bad luck? But you kill Seth. And look, I get that Seth versus Roman on paper is a bigger match. I have far less interest in watching that than watching Roman go against somebody new. I would rather see Oba Femi versus Roman. I would rather see Braun versus Roman. Dude, at this point, I'd rather see freaking damn near anybody versus Roman, other than the usual suspect. Other than I'm done. I'm done with Roman versus Cody for a while. I'm done with Roman versus Seth for a while. I'm done with that shit. Give me something new.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Paul Heyman separated himself from the Vision. Oh, the Vision's done. They're done. They're done. They're beyond cooked. I know how every women's match ends with the audience losing.
Wow.
Damn, son. That's brutal, man. Braun needs to take his bag and go somewhere else and be the Steiner he always should have been. I don't know, man. I'm starting to think that there's a lot of guys in WWE that they're going to have to pull a Cody or an AJ to get the recognition that they deserve. Like AJ had to leave TNA and go to New Japan to show, WWE, because he got a shit offer from TNA. WWE wasn't really that interested in him, so he left and he showed them what he really was. And then WWE snatched him up. Same thing with Cody. Cody They told Cody, your ceiling is here. He thought it was here. So he left and he reinvented himself. And, all the credit in the world to him. He did exactly what he said he was going to do.
And they continue to have to shove the continuing story of the bloodline on us, week after week.
The bloodline 2 years ago was the best storyline in professional wrestling. After what happened with Cody, they had an opportunity to change that storyline up, and instead they just went with the same shit. And like I said, there's always going to be people that are going to back the bloodline storyline because compared to everything else that's going on, it is probably a better. It's a better storyline. It's nowhere near what it was.
And now you got Zilla Fatu coming in soon.
Yep, he's good though. I'm not mad at.
He is, but it's just show after show after show.
Yeah,
like now you got Solo versus the Usos, and Solo's was going to be with LA Knight taking on the Usos.
Yeah,
it's just.
And then my ugly, actually pulling out a legend from the past, Ken Patera. Unfortunately, was said to have suffered a pretty significant injury over the weekend. He suffered a broken neck. He had a fall in the gym. So far, there's no further information right now. The thing is, though, is the guy's in his 80s. So an injury like that, it's not good. No. So thoughts and prayers go out to Ken Patera. I saw Ken Patera. Like I started watching wrestling like really seriously when Ken Patera was still part of WWE, but he was kind of more of the mid card kind of thing. He was always one of those guys that Hogan put on his team for like Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one who broke a McDonald's window? I think so. Yeah, because and then he had that feud with Dino Bravo about who the world's strongest man was and all that stuff. But yep, thoughts and prayers go out to Ken Patera. Hopefully he's going to be okay. He was a pretty big deal for a while back in the day. When he had the blonde hair when he was wrestling, was it AWA or NWA? Where he was he was like a heel and he was like a bleach blonde dude. I've seen some old matches. I can't remember though. But yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to him. Hopefully he's okay. All right. Let's start with Night of Champions. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Dude, the freaking show started off with a big old glut of ads. And then we got first match was Obafemi versus Jay. I have a new word to describe Jey Uso. Obnoxious.
Yes.
His entrance, people love his entrance. The minute this dude opens his mouth, I'm just like, the eye rollings. My eyes roll so hard they clack against the top of my skull. And thankfully, this was, I believe, the shortest match on the entire card. I believe this match was only 8 minutes long.
Sounds about right.
Obviously Jay got a couple of shots in. Oba completely dominated the entire match, as he should, because he's about 3 times the guy's size. I was surprised that Brock Lesnar did not get involved in this. What about you?
Yeah, a little bit. But
given the plans that they apparently had, wasn't necessary.
It's hard sometimes when you do stuff overseas like that to not, for people not to get on the social media to, Brock Lesnar's private plane just left and flew away. Like, oh, okay, well, he's going to Saudi Arabia.
No, I get it, but at the same time, it was just, or something. It was like, okay, because we said, if Oba wins King of the Ring, he's not going to win the title because either Brock is going to beat whoever, or it's going to, Oba's going to challenge whoever has the belt, and then Brock's going to cost him the title, and then they're going to wrestle at Survivor Series or whatever. We had some kind of scenario like that. We didn't have anything like what they did. But it was an okay match. Queen of the Ring, Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. This match was completely, like I said, it was completely ruined. The finish of it was completely ruined.
Before it even started.
So the match, I mean, Liv's a decent wrestler. Io is one of the best that there is. So you knew the match was going to be at least decent, pretty good match, and from all accounts, it was a pretty good match. But everybody knew what was going to happen. Like, yes, wrestling is scripted, but most of the time you're not entirely sure who's going to win. And given the nature of this tournament, they made it look like Liv was probably going to win. And then they did that. And then it was immediately like, well, nope. That's a wrap for that. Smoke them if you got them, guys. It's time to take a break. It was just such a dumb idea. It was such a dumb decision that completely derailed the finish of that.
And they were saying how Danhausen got a big pop. I didn't hear a big pop from the crowd.
My understanding is that he got and then they were like, oh, it was a pop, but it wasn't like a monster pop like they were trying.
Oh yeah, they made it seem like it was a monster pop.
No, like we always said this. If they push him too hard, it's going to be diminishing returns very quickly. It's going to be like any gimmick. If you flood the friggin' room with it, eventually everyone gets tired. If you eat steak every day, you get tired of steak.
Well, we'll say this about him though. He's gotten over a lot better than Mr. Iguana ever did.
Yes. And well, like here's a good example. Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was everywhere for a while doing that. Say his name and he'll hear it. It was, and everybody loved it until everybody started getting tired of it. Danhausen is in the same situation with the whole curse thing. Eventually, people are going to get tired of it and be like, okay, oh, look, well, yes, Joe Hendry is now Elias. He's having little concerts. That's exactly what I said when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, he's been reduced to Elias. Wait, how long until he comes out clean shaven as Joe Hendry's brother Jim? So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was just a bad decision. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Good match. Bad decision. Bad finish. WWE's cooling off of Breaker is
big time.
There was no reason for this. There was no reason for it. And everyone says, no, they had to do it because, then coming off of this big win, he challenges Roman. Dude, with his history with Roman, he doesn't have to come off of a win.
No, he doesn't.
His history with, if anything, his history with Roman would make him want to go out and challenge Roman face to face. Be like, I don't give a crap what happened last weekend. You and I will always hate each other. It's a forever feud with those guys. So he didn't need to beat Braun. Even if Braun cheated to win, this would have helped him far more than it helped Seth. Far more than it helped Seth. So this was the first big fumble of the night. The cursing thing was like, oh, okay, well, that was just kind of dumb. This was just the completely wrong decision in my personal opinion. Also the fact that Breaker apparently got busted open hard way, according to what they're saying. So, but yeah, Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. This one was pretty predictable. This was a pretty good match. But he, they're not taking, like, we knew they weren't taking that belt off of Trick Williams yet.
No, they weren't.
Ricky Saints, you know what? Good for him being on the main roster now and getting to put in some more work. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was pretty good. Hope he does well. But this was kind of the filler match. This was kind of a filler match to me. Obviously, it is what it is. Women's United States Championship, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I don't give a rat's ass about the women's U.S. title. It was nice to see it being defended on a pay-per-view for once.
Yes.
But literally, this match felt like an extended match from like Raw or SmackDown. It didn't seem to be worthy of a pay-per-view. Here's another thing though. I didn't realize this. This is the third pay-per-view Jade got pinned in. Now, it wasn't clean. Now I'm already over Danhausen, and I like Danhausen. Yeah, dude, like I said, Danhausen is fun in small doses. Seeing that she's lost her last 3 straight pay-per-views matches, that doesn't bode well with her knocking off Flair.
No.
And if she loses to Charlotte, I got the feeling that means that they're moving on from her. If that's what happens. So this match against Charlotte is going to be the big deciding, what's Jade's future going to be. Because if she loses to Charlotte, then that means that they don't really see her as a top level player anymore. In my opinion, because that'll be 4 straight pay-per-view losses. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly just don't think she really moves the needle. For me, it's I just don't think she is invested and cares as much about that as people like Charlotte, Bailey, and others care about the sport.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's ever going to change for her. I think she wants to use WWE as an opportunity to try to do what The Rock and Drew McIntyre and them have done to go to Hollywood and start her career there.
You know what's interesting about that too, though? Now, obviously, The Rock, he wanted to go to Hollywood. That was like his main motivation. But Drew, he went to do the movies, but he didn't do that with the intention of that replacing wrestling. He did that because it was an opportunity to do it. And now that he's getting a lot of there's a lot of favorable press from it, these movie roles are starting to roll in for him. And I'm happy for him. But Jade, if Jade goes to Hollywood, I guarantee you she'll be okay. She'll be in they'll put her in some action films and stuff like that. She'll be like a henchwoman or something like that. I don't know that she has the charisma to be a big time movie actor, movie star like The Rock or Cena.
No,
I don't know that she has the personality for it.
No, she could be like oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Grace Jones. She could be like her.
Yeah. Or Brigitte Nielsen.
Or Brigitte Nielsen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would if they ever make any more Bond movies, have her like Grace Jones was in View to a Kill. Just have her in a supporting role in the Bond movie.
I don't think she's going to be getting starring roles.
No. I'm just saying she can do something like that.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, but I don't know that the grass is that green over there.
Right. Or was it Conan the Barbarian or
it was
Conan the
Conan the
Destroyer.
Destroyer.
The second one that
Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
But anywho,
but like I said, I can see something like that for her.
Yeah. But I really do think that that match against Charlotte's going to decide. It's going to show where she's going to go. So, undisputed WWE Championship: Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Gunther. All right. This was a really good match until the finish. Let me get this. I put this in the same category as Darby Allin winning the world title.
And that's what people have said is that
yes,
WWE is copying off of AEW.
Well, this is we're rewarding the guy who was willing to do whatever the hell we wanted him to do.
Yep.
That's what this is. It's this. Okay, you know what? You've been a good soldier. Here's your medal. Here's your consolation prize. Now you get to say that you were a world champion in WWE for however long it lasts, which I don't think it's going to last long.
Could he suffer the same fate? Because could Sammy Mania suffer the same fate as Kofi Mania and him getting squashed in like 6 seconds from Brock Lesnar?
Possible. Hey, Big Daddy Baggy. How you, family, Bob? How you feeling, Hollywood? I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yep. Do you guys think Andrade and Rush are getting back together and reforming Los Ingobernables? I would like to see that.
So would I.
I Andrade turning on Max was one of the best things that happened in that match. And I like Andrade. There's too many people in the Don Callis family. Don Callis family is becoming the new NWO, and or the new Bullet Club, where like there were like 30 members. No, stop it.
Less is more.
Yes, I would like to see Andrade hook back up with Rush and go after the tag belts together, or put the TNT belt on Andrade and see if he can elevate that thing a little bit. But yeah, Andrade's too good to be playing second fiddle to, Don Callis.
Yeah, but if they do Kofi Mania with Sami Zayn and he's squashed by Brock Lesnar, it's like, what's the point? What was the point?
Well, yeah, exactly. The whole point. Yes, drop an elbow on that like button, guys. The whole point was here's your reward for being a good soldier. That's what it was. And here's the thing. I like Sammy. I think Sammy's got a lot of talent. I've never seen Sammy as a world champion.
No.
Same category as Darby Allin. Fun guy, fun to watch. I just don't see that aura. You know what I mean? I don't see the guy that you hang the company on. So at best, Darby was a transitional champion. Same thing with Sammy.
Yes.
He's not going to be champion for long. I will say this: I'm glad that it was Cody who took the pin.
Yes.
Rather than Gunther, but again, where does Gunther go from here?
Nick Aldis.
The match that should have happened 2 years ago? Oh, you're finally going to pull the trigger on that now?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Rob.
This is if I'm not mistaken, this is the third time Gunther has wrestled for the World Championship and lost.
Rob.
Yes.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
No. No, not in this respect. I'm not. No. Okay, and so remember when we were saying that we thought that they were doing this whole thing with Brock so that Gunther could be the guy to retire him? Nope. No, I don't think that whole thing where Gunther was the legend killer. That's dead.
Yes.
That's dead. They killed it. They absolutely killed it. This dude, I do not understand how they don't see what they have in him. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The guy is a throwback to classic wrestling villains in the absolute best way possible. He's like a living, breathing Marvel villain. And he's good. He's legitimately good. And they're just like, we're going to feed him to Jay. Mr. Yeet. Yeah, feed him to Jay. Feed him to, let's see who else. We'll feed him to Sammy now. At the time, they fed him. They were going to feed him to Chad Gable, but they ended up not. Chad Gable's the one dude I'd be like, okay, I'd like to see Chad Gable beat Gunther because it's one of the best technical wrestlers alive versus the ring general. That would be interesting, and it probably would never happen again. No, we're going to sacrifice him to a dude whose only thing is his entrance.
Yes.
And now we're going to sacrifice him to El Generico in his golden years.
But Nick Aldis is putting the tights back on here soon.
And here's the thing. I like Nick Aldis. I liked Nick Aldis as a wrestler. When they brought him into WWE and he was the commissioner, that stunk of Max Dupree all over again, dude. Like LA Knight, you brought LA Knight up from NXT when he was one of the hottest acts that you had in the ring, and you turned him into a freaking goofy ass fashion manager. That's Vince. That's pure Vince slop right there. Nick Aldis, who was literally the guy that resurrected NWA, was one of the most respected wrestlers in the indies and was one of the hottest free agents at the time. You bring him in and he's the Raw general and you make him the SmackDown general manager. That's your idea of capitalizing on that kind of talent. I don't want him in the ring. I want him kowtowing to other wrestlers and be in a suit. And, jeez, God. What the freaking hell, man? But now it's 3 years later?
Yeah. And
nobody gives a shit about that match anymore.
Well, what could happen is, before the match starts, he could be Gunther could be cursed by Danhausen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking dumb. God. Anyway. Great match. Cody and Gunther were great. Sammy did good job in the match. There's no future for this there's no future for this storyline. But that was Night of Champions. I'd give it a C- overall.
Yeah.
There were a couple of good. There was some good wrestling when there was wrestling. There was some good wrestling. The decisions don't make any sense to me. It was like the wrestling equivalent of the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? The rules are made up and the points don't matter. All right, let's talk about Forbidden Door. We're gonna have to run through Forbidden Door pretty quick because good God Almighty, was it long? Okay, just on the main show, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 9 matches. The shortest match was 16 minutes long. The shortest match was 16 minutes long. The longest was 39 minutes.
Is that the Brawl for All, or what do you want to call it?
Yes, that one was the longest. Let's see, match times. Let me double check this. Make sure I'm not talking out of my friggin' butt. Okay. Yeah. So the shortest match was 16. Was the AEW World Tag Team Championship. It was almost 17 minutes long. To put it into context, Night of Champions match times. Match lengths. Here we go. Only the Seth Rollins Braun Breaker match was longer. Hang on a minute. That might be wrong. Here we go. How long every match in Night of Champions lasts? Here we go. Let me see here. Oh, go away. I hate that shit.
We need to move along.
Yeah, I know. But that to give you an idea of how much time that they put into it, and this pay-per-view was long. But all right, so none of the matches were bad. Some of the matches were better than others. The three-way tag match was actually pretty good. I still think it would have been better if it had just been the Bucks versus Dorada and Mystico, or Takagi and Teton. Shingo Takagi is always going to be one of my boys. Pretty good match. Copeland and Cage versus the Dogs. Whatever. Honestly, I don't think that I would have had that be their first defense. Can you read the results to Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire? No. Let me bring the thing back up here. Shota Umino versus Pac. This was actually really good. And one of the things that one of the complaints was that, New Japan guys never win against AEW guys. They do. They're just rare.
Yes.
Which, again, we've talked about the reason why that is. Avery Styles, AJ's son with AJ guiding him. Yes, I did see that. I saw that AJ showed up at that match of his too. Yeah, I tell you what, man. Hey, if he turns into half of what his dad was, he'll be good. So, be watching him with great interest. But Shota Umino is another one of those guys that if you don't follow New Japan, you don't know what I'm talking about. He's the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion, which is kind of like the New Japan's version of the international title, which I really think that AEW needs to get back to doing the international title the way that they intended, which is that it was meant to be defended and held by other companies. But Pac, is a really good wrestler. Shota Umino's a really good wrestler. I love the foreshadowing of something going down between Umino and Moxley, because Moxley was his mentor. Speaking of which, Moxley versus Bandito, good match. Mercedes versus Maya World, good match. I still think Maya should have won, because I don't think Mercedes needs to win the Owen to challenge for the world title. And yes, I know that her versus Thekla is a bigger match, but that doesn't mean that Maya has to get her world title at a pay-per-view.
Right.
World title shot at the pay-per-view. And I think that this would have raised Maya's stock far more than it helps Mercedes. Thekla versus Starlight Kid. This was the best women's match on the entire card.
You agree with that?
There was only two, but it was the better of the two. Thekla has really grown on me. I think Tony does right. He's got another big star in the making, and they needed someone to step up with Tony Storm being out. I really like seeing the offspring of wrestling carrying the tradition. Oh yeah, dude. Second and third generation wrestlers are always fun to watch. Or you're always rooting for them. So Kenny versus Zach. Getting to the big matches. Kenny versus Zach. This was the first time that I feel like we got to see Kenny Omega being the old Kenny Omega. This is the first time we got to see Kenny Omega actually looking like Kenny Omega. And of course, Zack Sabre Jr. he's Zack friggin' Sabre Jr., man. He's the best technical wrestler alive. The dude is it has at this point, it has to be a personal thing with him that he has not signed with a bigger company. It has to be, because you can't be that good. And by the way, he's also fire on the stick. Okay. The dude can run his mouth like damn near nobody else. He's like, imagine a soccer hooligan with a brain. That's Zack Sabre Jr. Okay. But I love every match this dude's ever been in. This was an awesome match. These guys obviously know each other. They wrestled for a long, long time. This was my favorite match of the night until we got Ospreay versus Swerve. And goddamn, this match was freaking fire.
It's Will Ospreay. Come on.
Yeah. I would say the three best matches of the night by far were Omega, Zack Sabre Jr., Ospreay, and in my personal opinion, Umino and Pac. Although I could see the argument being made for Moxley versus Bandito. And Bandito's another one that they've got a special talent in that guy. Bandito, that guy needs to be cultivated even more than he already has been. Swerve is awesome. Dude, Swerve is a prime example of Vince McMahon not knowing what the hell he had. Ospreay versus Swerve That's another one of those forever feuds. Bandito is excellent. Bandito is freaking awesome. Bandito's another guy that I really would. Oh man, there's so many matches I would love to see that dude in. I want to see him versus Ospreay. I want to see him versus Swerve. I want to see him versus Kenny. Like, and not only that, but let's see this dude. Oh, man, him and Andrade. I would love to see him as part of Andrade's faction. Andrade putting going back and getting control of Los Ingobernables, and then having Bandito be a part of that. That would be freaking awesome. And then actually push them and have them do well.
Yes.
Okay, because I love Roosh too. I mean, they have so much potential there. They need to start using it. So I think this Thekla doing this to the president of Stardom is going to build Kyrie going after Thekla. I wouldn't be against that. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, AEW needs to lean into this storyline with Stardom and have more of a crossover with Stardom. If I was going to do an all women's pay-per-view, because AEW is talking about, because they want to do like the Evolution thing, it would be a joint thing with Stardom. I would do a joint thing with Stardom, and that's your women's pay-per-view right there. I don't know if it would be a regular thing, but not only that, but you have the ability to really build something between those two companies.
Yes.
Because there's some excellent wrestlers in Stardom. Dragon Lee needs to leave WWE. Dude, Dragon Lee should have never gone to WWE in the first place. I get why he did it. All these guys think they're going to be the next Rey Mysterio over there. And Dragon Lee is one of the guys that legitimately has the talent to do that. Not in the current climate. It's just they're always going to be wrestling each other, and occasionally they might get a sniff at a mid card thing or maybe a tag belt. They're never going to be in the world title scene. That's just not the way WWE does things, especially not these days. So
right.
But Dragon Lee, yeah, he's being completely wasted. He's being wasted. Ray Phoenix is being wasted. Even Penta's cooled off a lot. So, but Kenny versus Swerve was, Ospreay versus Swerve was exactly what we knew it was going to be. It was going to be friggin' awesome. The 12-man tag match. Look, I get that sometimes those matches are fun, and I loved like what happened with Andrade. Like he got out of like the Don Callis family. He's on his own again. That's awesome. This didn't have to happen at a pay-per-view. You could have done this match on Dynamite or Collision and set up the actual match between Max and Mark. I get that this is a spectacle, and when you're on a pay-per-view, you want a spectacle.
Yep.
But man, dude, legitimately about 2/3 of the way through this match, I was like, can this thing just end? It's like, really, I was just like, can this thing I'm tired. I was just, and the thing is the people in it, I loved them. I love Mark Briscoe. I love Roderick Strong. I love Kyle O'Reilly, Konosuke Takeshita, MJF, Kyle Fletcher, Okada, Andrade. These are some of my favorite wrestlers. I wanted this to be done.
You and a lot of other people.
Yeah, I think the Andrade thing was for surprise. AEW always surprises at pay-per-views. Well, it was a surprise, but they were kind of leading up to that whole thing through the entire time, because Andrade was literally like getting in MJF's face, every week.
Yeah, come on. You had Leo Rush in a suitcase.
Oh, God. Am I the only one that is not interested in this gimmick of his? this weird. Like, he suddenly turned. He went from being like Mr. Cool R&B to freaking goop dripping out of his mouth, freaking psychotic, supernatural, ooky shit. Weird. I don't like it. It doesn't do nothing for me. I do think that the segments with him and the conglomeration are funny though, where they're like treating him like a T-Rex. Like, don't move, he can't see you.
Come on, Leo Rush, he was with Bobby Lashley in WWE. He was Lashley's mouthpiece, whatever, and he was having with Elias, and Elias was going to call Child Protective Services on Leo.
Yeah. Yes, you are, Bob. You truly have no joy. I know, man. I need more whimsy in my life. I just when it comes to wrestling, man, this kind of stuff, I'm just like, it's like when they were doing the Undertaker and the Ministry of Darkness. I was just like, okay,
yeah,
we're doing satanic sacrifices now, I guess. Whatever. I'll go take a leak while you guys are playing this crap. But yeah, overall, so I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit because I know I rambled on a little bit about some of these matches.
It's all right.
Overall, matches on AEW Forbidden Door were better. I don't think that's in contest. What do you think?
No, AEW was a lot better.
Yeah. I really do think that Tony Khan needs to get a grip on the length of these pay-per-views. I get it. It's bang for your buck. I appreciate that. But 4.5 hours on top of an hour long, actually longer than that, over an hour long friggin' pre-show. 6.5, 7 hours is a long time, dude. So, I don't know where WWE is going at this point. So if the idea was to confuse everybody and get you guessing, good job. Because I don't know, because the smart money and the things that make sense doesn't seem to be where they're going.
Yeah, I don't know where you go with, like I said, I don't know where you go with this whole King of the Ring thing.
I don't either.
I mean,
you too, Big Daddy. Appreciate you, sir. Everybody be safe on the 4th here. I think AEW is doing better on storylines. Honestly, I don't think either company is doing particularly great on storylines. I think they both have one somewhat compelling storyline, and the rest is just kind of smatterings. Like in AEW, the storyline is Ospreay and Swerve, and Ospreay's ascension to try to reach the world title, going for a world championship at Wembley, finally beating Swerve. AEW, obviously, it's the bloodline and everything that satellites around it. Because let's face it, man, the storyline with Seth and the Seth and the Vision and all that, all those other storylines are dead. Judgment Day isn't really a storyline anymore. No, but AEW does better currently. I think MLW and NWA is far superior storyline wise. MLW is really good at storylines. Like I said, I haven't been keeping up on it, but they're actually really good. Well, go ahead. What's it?
and I will say though that AEW is doing a better job with the women's division.
Yes, more interesting.
Well, they actually put the titles up.
Yeah,
like,
they're actually...
Liv Morgan has not had a title defense since she won the title.
Nope. Nothing.
Her
really
first title defense. Her first title defense is going to be at SummerSlam.
Yeah, not really. The G1 is getting ready to start up. He was asking about New Japan.
Yeah.
The G1 Climax. It's going to be in. They're going to have matches in Chicago this year. They did announce the lineup. Which I mean, it's an okay lineup. They just don't have any major like huge stars. Like pretty much the biggest people they've got. Takeshita is going to be in the G1, which is going to be cool. He's always good. Shingo Takagi, Callum Newman, he's fun. Zack Sabre Jr., Shota Umino. But and then the rest are just like the usual suspects. So there's no like blockbuster like, holy crap, John Moxley's going to be in the freaking G1 or something like that. That's something that if I was New Japan, like the quid pro quo, I'd be like, hey, can you send us? We want this guy and this guy to be in the G1, or we want this guy and this guy to be in the Tokyo Cup.
Yep.
That's New Japan has been a big reason why nobody in New Japan has held a title, even though one of the original ideas was that Hiroshi Tanahashi was going to be the inaugural holder of the international belt, which never came to fruition, is because New Japan doesn't pull the trigger on anything. And they kind of just basically telling AEW to do whatever you want. And there's also, you know, like I said, there was all the big issues with television rights and all kinds of other crap like that. So that's the reason why they've never held any AEW belts. But if I was them, I'd be like, okay, well, we may not hold belts, but we want this person and this person on our next big tournament or what have you. You know, if I were them, that's what I'd be doing. So, Forbidden Door. I personally feel like Forbidden Door has lost a lot of its relevance with so many of the former New Japan stars now wrestling in AEW. You know, you've got 5 of their biggest stars over the last 10 years who are currently signed to AEW. You've got Okada, Ospreay, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Takeshita's recent though.
Right, but
if I was, dude, I'm gonna do it right now. Like I said, if I was New Japan Pro Wrestling, the second Takeshita's contract with AEW came up, I would literally sit that guy down in the office and drop a blank check in front of him and said, fill it out. We want you to wrestle for us. You're going to be the person that we build around. So, and then the other person that I forgot was Jay White.
Yeah.
So 5 of their biggest stars over the last 10 years. 2 of them being arguably the biggest in Omega and Okada. So I feel like for Forbidden Door to continue to be relevant, they need to branch out to other companies as well. I think they need to contact MLW because there's a lot of guys in AEW that have connective tissue to guys in MLW. For instance, MJF and Richard Holiday. That match would be fire, by the way. Or the 2 of them hooking up to go after something, because those 2 and Hammerstone used to be in a faction together.
Well, what they also need to do is to maybe reignite it is have Forbidden Door in Japan.
That's another thing. I think New Japan needs to insist that the next Forbidden Door happens in Japan. And the belts that are on, most of the belts that are on the line need to be from New Japan.
Yes.
New Japan tag titles. New Japan. Here's one that I really want to see. I want to see some of these smaller guys from AEW, like Darby Allin or Sammy Guevara, you know, Speedball Mike Bailey going for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Juniors Championship. That would be friggin' awesome. Him against someone like Taiji Ishimori. Holy shit, dude. Like I want to see that. I want to see Thekla versus I don't know who's the current IWGP Women's Champion. I want to see that. I want to see. That's what I want to see. Okay, that's how you make Forbidden Door relevant again. But the other thing I think they need to reach out to other companies. They need to reach out to MLW. I would reach out to CMLL and be like, hey, let's make this. Forbidden Door needs to be what the original All In was. You had belts and you had talent from legitimately 5 different companies on that card. That's what Forbidden Door needs to turn into, in my personal opinion, for it to remain relevant. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, that's our thoughts on Night of Champions and Forbidden Door. We'll see what happens going forward. But should be interesting. At the very least, it won't be boring. Especially considering that nobody can figure out what the hell WWE's friggin' thinking right now.
Nope.
Not necessarily in a good way. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you being here. Leg Kick, Maldacito, Big Daddy, everybody else. We had a few other people. Kevin Abreu. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all you guys and everybody that lurked and everybody that will be watching later. And like I said, once the video posts, leave a comment. Tell us, give us ideas for anything you guys want us to take a look at. I've been thinking about doing, going back and watching some old pay-per-views and critiquing them using, our current day eyes on those pay-per-views and what we think of them.
Yeah.
Because we have a tendency to look back on a lot of this stuff through rose-colored glasses. And then when you go back and watch it, you go, man, that really wasn't very good, was it? Like old cartoons, man. Like we grew up like, this cartoon was the best. It was awesome. And then you go back and go, God, dude, this is dog shit. This is terrible. The dialogue in this is so bad.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, appreciate you all. And be safe. Have a good 4th. Take care of yourselves. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.